Welcome to Local 24 this week on a hot August weekend in Memphis. I'm Richard Ransom. Thanks for joining us. The only thing hotter than the weather outside is the spread of COVID-19 in the Mid-South, and there are so many tentacles to this issue and the impact it's having on our community. The topic is pretty much going to take up most of our time together today. First, there's masking the problem. Parents were facing a tough choice with school starting up next week because all districts except Shelby County were making wearing face masks optional. But at the end of the week, it was the Shelby County Health Department to the rescue. We'll talk about that. Which brings us to the lack of leadership. Local and state government are all over the place in how best to deal with this pandemic. Arkansas ignores their governor's pleas on face masks. Tennessee's House Speaker threatens a special session to ban face masks in schools, and its governor supports incentives for vaccinating cows, but not people. While in Germantown, they supported requiring employees get vaccinated until they didn't. And from employers to restaurants to hospitals, the dilemma of requiring employees to prove that they have been vaccinated. And later, Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris will be joining us to answer questions not only about the pandemic, but other issues as well, including criminal justice reform. We will get to all of that in a moment, but first let me introduce my panel. Local 24 political analyst Otis Sanford is with us. We also have Jane Roberts, a reporter for the Daily Memphian, and Tajuan Stout-mitchell, a political consultant in Memphis and former city councilwoman. Jane, I want to start with you because you've been covering this COVID beat better than anybody else in Memphis media. And I just want to, after a very busy week and after a very long year and a half of this, what is your assessment of where things stand right now?
Boy, this week was about as wild as any of them were. It started out with LeBonner saying that actually the pediatric cases were much higher than people thought and that there had been 2 deaths over the weekend, including with a child who did not make it to LeBonner because he or she was so sick that they couldn't transport them fast enough. And then in the days that followed, just constant new things and new arguments about the new things. We know that the Shelby County instituted the mask mandate this morning, amended its own health order to do that. And then later in the day on Friday, the state health director said, no, it would be up to school boards to issue mask mandates with parental input. So, in Shelby County, you don't know if that's a jab at us or if she were just talking to such a large audience that it wasn't entirely tailored to Shelby County. But of course, it did set off some people mad that the health department has made a decision that in other places would be made by a school board.
Right. Well, the school boards were all deciding to make it optional, as we know, with the exception of Shelby County, which I thought was absolutely crazy because you set up a situation where parents who want their kids to be masked send their kid to school, and they will likely get bullied or made fun of at the very least. Oh, your mom made you wear a mask, or maybe the other way around, I suppose. But it never works out well when you leave something like that controversial to be optional rather than just telling people what they need to do, it seems to me. But we know where Tennessee's House Speaker feels about all this. We talk about Cameron Sexton, of course, and I don't know how he's going to react to the decision by the Shelby County Health Department, but let's hear the threat he made earlier this week.
They would be learning, and we would not be disrupting our economy with those students being sent home and their parents having to assume the immediate responsibility for not only monitoring their activity, but supporting their academic endeavors. Okay,
that was the wrong soundbite. That's Superintendent Fenton. He was with the Marion School District. And let's go ahead and change to that topic because they had one heck of a week as well. As you know, they discovered that they had around 20 cases of COVID, but hundreds of people, students and staff, had to be quarantined as a result. That superintendent you just saw there pleading with state lawmakers to do what the governor has asked for, Governor Asa Hutchinson, and that is lift the ban on mask mandates for school districts, saying we really need some help here. But despite that, Otis, the lawmakers didn't want any part of it, and he was not able to get that part of the law removed.
That's absolutely true. He wasn't. Governor Hutchinson had a change of heart here, and good for him for doing this. He regretted even signing the legislation back in April, and he called the legislators back for the special session, and they would not do it. I did hear on Friday that a judge in Little Rock had issued a temporary stay on the legislation that would stop mask mandates from going into effect. But it's still unclear over in Arkansas what's going to happen here, just as it is in Tennessee and other places. We have people fighting over something we should not be fighting over. And I'm really worried about what could happen Monday, tomorrow, in local schools when you may have some parents who show up and trying to be confrontational about this. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I fear that too. Tajuan, you have a lot of close friends and ties to education circles. I was very concerned that Marion was going to be a precursor for what might happen here this week with schools opening, having so many people having to be quarantined. No one's learning if everyone's quarantined. Yet we did have this bit of good news from the health department. If you're in favor of at least school, of kids having to wear masks, which seems only right when everyone under 12 isn't even eligible for the vaccine. What are you hearing about in education circles about what the reception has been to some of the decisions so far?
I think the superintendent was right to make an assessment based on his population of students. Most brown and black children are highly impacted by this virus. And he made a good decision to mask up. I am glad it was undergirded by the Shelby County Health Department director by looking at the science and the data, as well as the recommendations from the American Pediatric Society. They cannot be ignored here. I appreciate Representative Saxon and everybody else's opinion. You have a right to an opinion, but I value and respect the research, data, and science from the professionals.
Well, you know, you make a good point. There are opinions, Tajuan, and there are threats. Mm-hmm. And we have that soundbite now with Cameron Sexton, who is issuing a threat to any school system that imposes a mask mandate on the kids. Let's listen.
I sure hope that school systems do not require a mask mandate for those students. And if they do, I'm going to ask the governor for a special session.
And Governor Lee was standing right there when that was said. And, you know, you have to wonder now that Shelby County has issued this directive. Jane, I'll go back to you. Will he carry through on this threat? And all you can do is throw up your arms because you don't know. I know, but it sure was, he was rather verbose about it for sure.
Yeah, I want to say hats off to Joris Ray. Really, he made this decision a time ago, and as far as I know, he has not wavered one bit on it, and I'm happy to see it.
And
go ahead, Tajuan.
Richard, in honor of the young lady, Jordan Franklin, who recently died, the child that died, who was only 10 or 11 years old, I just would rather mask up than see another child on a ventilator. And I would hope, just like you're going to have some parents who will say, we don't want our children to wear masks, a few of them, I hope the parents who say, I want my children safe will speak up.
And to that point, I just hope that a cooler heads prevail in Nashville. And I did hear that the Lieutenant Governor, Randy McNally, took a different tone than Cameron Sexton by saying that this should be a local issue and he's not all that interested in a special legislative session. I think that will kill this. But you're right, Richard. The governor was standing right there when Cameron Sexton was playing politics with the deaths of people and said nothing. This is just another example of a lack of leadership. I would not be surprised if there is an effort to have a special legislative session. I hope it does not happen because I think that this is a local issue and local officials should decide it.
Before we end the segment, we would be remiss not to talk about the challenge facing employers during this time. St. Jude comes to mind initially. They have, it turns out, a dentist that works for St. Jude. His name is Christopher Rowland, and he may be one of the most vocal, active anti-vaxxers in the city, actually coordinating efforts to try and keep these mask mandates from happening, putting St. Jude, which is one of just 2 hospitals in our community that are making vaccines required among their staff, puts them in a bit of a pickle. Jane, you're covering this aspect of it too. Not just St. Jude, but a lot of employers are really facing some tough decisions.
Yes, and I'm still thinking that the FDA is going to rule soon on the emergency use, and that I think is going to dilute a lot of it, because then it will be easier to mandate the vaccine. Now, Rhodes announced this summer that it was expecting that to happen this summer, but it was going to go ahead and enforce a fee for people who didn't get vaccinated to reimburse for the testing. Today, it announced that it's no longer doing that. Vaccinations will be required even before there's emergency use authorization is canceled by the FDA. So I think that's interesting.
All right, I've got to take a break here. We'll revisit this topic when we come right back after this.
This time, our delicious, crispy, hand-battered chicken comes in piece. 8-piece.
Get nuggets delivered exclusively on the Popeyes app.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
When you find the style that matches your own, you'll see all the right pieces come together. Explore the showrooms of style at Lowe's. Shop the Showroom Styles Bath event.
I'm a 3-time male breast cancer survivor. I am forever grateful, thankful for your part in my life and the lives of so many other patients that you care for on a daily basis. So today I say thank you. Thank you for your hard work to help me have a great life.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're the Justice Society of America. We can't quit. We're never gonna stop fighting to protect the world from people like you.
Don't you teach these children any manners?
Stargirl. New episodes start this Tuesday at 8/7 Central, only on the CW.
I could tell you that I'm not a person who wants to die, and I won't break.
Wednesday night at 10/9 Central on ABC.
Think it's easy being a superstar? You have no idea.
Welcome back to Local 24 this week. Back with my panel, Local 24 political analyst Otis Sanford, Jane Roberts with the Daily Memphian, and Tajuan Stout-Mitchell. Let's revisit this issue of what employers are facing and the different conflicts they have. You had Germantown earlier this week, impose a vaccine requirement among its workers, fearful that if there was to be an outbreak, they wouldn't be able to deliver city services, only 2 days later to walk that back. And Jane, I continue to be fascinated by our area hospitals, the fact that only 2, the VA, by virtue of the fact that's kind of a federal mandate, obviously, and St. Jude, yet you have Methodist, the Baptist systems, St. Francis, Regional 1, none of them issuing a vaccine requirement yet. What are you hearing about that? Anything?
You know, I think that they're worried. They are already short-staffed. I think that they're worried that staff would leave them in worse condition as far as covering the floors. So at least nursing homes are saying that, and I suspect hospitals are feeling the same pressure. They all need nurses.
Yeah. Tajuan, you know what it's like to have a loved one in a nursing care facility. The idea that the workers in those nursing homes come in and out of that building day in and day out and could possibly be carrying the virus into, expose your loved one is terrifying, I would think, to a lot of families.
Nursing homes, home health care workers, in and out of a person's home, it's all very dangerous. And what really gets me is that where is your belief in healthcare and science when you are a professional in that arena? It's almost like an oxymoron. How can you work for St. Jude, which is a research hospital that believes in research and science to help save children, but yet you don't take research and science to heart? It's unbelievable the times we're living in, but I think this when USDA approves this vaccine in the next few weeks, I think that would be an answer for most employers.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case. Otis, I think I continue to struggle with, and why I would say this is the low point, at least as far as I'm concerned in covering this pandemic, is that you now have, as Jane was mentioning, this explosive growth in pediatric cases, school about to open up, and I don't hear a whole lot of advocates for the children in all of this and what this means.
Absolutely, and they are the most vulnerable here, Richard. They can't get the vaccine. They are going into harm's way, and we're not doing anything to help them. I agree with what Jane and Tajuan said. This is really a bad situation that we're in, and if the adults can't come together on this, what hope is there for the children? Yeah. I just really hope, again, that cooler heads will prevail, and we start fighting the real enemy here, which is the vaccine and not each other.
Jane, final question for you. We know that the health department has taken this step of issuing a directive affecting schools. How far down the road we might expect something else, do you think, regarding our restaurants, indoor spaces as well?
Very interesting. I think the health department would have sway over that too. So I think they're very reluctant because it was such a hot button issue last winter. But the Delta variant is an entirely different soldier, and it'll be interesting to see.
All right. Well,
luckily, we still have lots of warm weather for patio seating, and that's helpful.
Right. All right. Well, thanks all three of you for being here, Otis, Jane, and Tajuan. We appreciate it very much. Otis and I will be back on the other side of this break with our conversation with Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris right after this.
So there you were, finally making some headway when the whole landscape changes. That's when you can use an old friend like Speedy Cash, your bridge over troubled waters. Speedy Cash, we're here for you, online and in-store.
I still think I can sell the car myself. This is going to take all day. And I have big plans, brunch, bubble bath.
At WeBuyAnyCar.com, selling your vehicle is always fast and fair.
And a nice pedicure.
All done.
Don't trade in or sell by yourself. Go to WeBuyAnyCar.com now for a free online valuation. Get in, get out, get paid.
Seat number? This way.
Thanks.
Welcome aboard. Seat number?
When it comes to airplane seats, size matters.
Water.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Same goes for your law firm. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
So there you were, finally making some headway when the storm hit. That's when it's nice to know Speedy Cash is a good friend to have on a rainy day. Speedy Cash, we're here for you, online and in-store.
Welcome back to Local 24 this week. We're joined now by Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris and Otis Sanford. I'm going to let you have the first question.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Obviously, the health department's mandate on masks in all schools in Shelby County was the talk of Friday. But I'm a little concerned about the backlash and the pushback that is likely to come from this when classes actually start on tomorrow, on Monday. Are you concerned about that as well? And is the county or law enforcement officials prepared for any major confrontations that could arise as a result of this?
Well, thanks for that, and it's good to be back with you all. I am concerned about the politics that have become part and parcel of the COVID response. I think every day is more political than the last, and every milestone in this COVID process has created lots of politics is the right word for it. Mm-hmm. I think that on Monday everyone will be prepared. We had a great, robust meeting with leaders of all the different school districts. There has been ongoing and regular communication as part of the joint task force process. And so the school districts that I have talked to personally, the superintendents that I've talked to one-on-one feel like they will be prepared for Monday. I think this process does change from time to time, right? We had the CDC guidance that came out very recently, and we had to adjust. We've also had the local data around the severe consequences of contracting COVID with respect to some kids. And so all of that requires us to change and adjust, as we've all been able to do over the last 15 or 16 months. And our school leaders are ready to execute on the new mask mandate. I think they'll be able to get it done. But yeah, there has been too much politics when it comes to the COVID response. And we're hopeful that our kids will see a great deal of that on Monday morning.
Mayor, you watch the same numbers we do every night, and you see what's happening, especially because of this Delta variant. The health department taking a step regarding schools, but, and I know you're not running the health department, you have found someone you feel is absolutely capable of doing so. But as the top political official in the county, you have to be concerned, are restaurants next? Are other businesses next in terms of what we have to do and what's going to be required of leadership here to try and contain the spread of this pandemic the best we can in light of this surge?
So we are in a surge now, and we will have to look carefully at how we navigate and manage this current surge. I'm hopeful that it won't require additional restrictions, et cetera. However, we have demonstrated, the health department has demonstrated just this week and with past decisions, that we will be cognizant of the local data and to make changes as necessary. As you mentioned, a mandate on businesses at this time would really be unfortunate and be a step back. And so I think everyone is doing everything they can to avoid that. The key to this pandemic, the one thing that has not changed from the start, is that the only way to get out of this pandemic once and for all is for more individuals to get vaccinated. And so I will be pushing that hard over this next period, because it's not just this moment that we're in, there's winter coming. And I think all the best expertise that has looked at this think that our winter could be one that will be remembered in a very, very bad way, unless we all consider vaccination. So we'll be pushing every organization in Memphis to either mandate vaccine for their constituency or to mandate regular testing for the unvaccinated. If we can get more organizations in town to do that, then we can move past this period of a surge, and we can be in a very, very good position to navigate the winter, which otherwise is not going to be good for anyone.
But you mentioned earlier the politics of all of this, and certainly it is real. I mean, we have the House Speaker just last week saber rattling, if you will, about a legislative session to stop any of the schools. Are you concerned that there will also be an effort by this legislature, perhaps in a special session, to take the authority away from the health departments in Shelby and Davidson and the other two large counties?
I don't know. I hope not. What I do know is there is way too much politics in the COVID response, and I say that respectfully. Whether you're on the side of Commissioner Sawyer and Commissioner Billingsley, whom I work with very well, who are pushing for additional mandates right now, or if you're on the side of Commissioner Speaker Sexton, who's pushing to reduce mandates. Either way, I think we need to all try as best we can to take the politics out of the COVID response. I know that everyone is frustrated and tired. I am too. I know everyone is even tired of the masking and everything that has come over the last 15 or 16 months. But we've got to get through this. The key is vaccination, and we can do it. We can make it to the other side of this.
Okay, I know we want to get to a question on criminal justice reform in a second, but if you can take 30 seconds and just give me your assessment, speaking of politics, on the people who are coming for you, Mayor, already. Some announcing, in the case of Worth Morgan, he's running for county mayor. We hear Commissioner Billingsley might be doing the same. What is your assessment of the landscape as you look to run for re-election?
Well, I've been in elected office for a while now, and I've had several races. And suffice it to say, I love campaigning and I love running for office. I love service. But the reality is I've got to stay focused on the job at hand, and we are in a surge right now. And so that is not my priority, the politics of the moment, the campaigns ahead. What's on my mind right now is the COVID response and managing this surge. And I'll let others do whatever they need to do campaign-wise. But I think we need to keep focused on the COVID response and get through this. That should be all of our top priorities.
Well, to get off COVID just for a little bit, I want you to talk somewhat about DeAndre Brown. He is your new head of the Office of Reentry, I believe it's called, an ex-offender himself. Talk about the importance of this position and what your expectations are for Mr. Brown.
So that's right. So this is the good news in a very, very tough year and a half. We have an opportunity because our last Office of Reentry Director, Harold Collins, was promoted. And so we had an opening, and who better to lead our Office of Reentry and our criminal justice reform than DeAndre Brown. He is the leader of Path to Success, someone all of us know as the go-to person to talk about how we reintegrate those with a criminal history back into our community so that they can be productive residents. DeAndre Brown, of course, many years ago, committed an offense himself and served some time, but he has undergone a complete metamorphosis, and he is a leader in this community, very well respected. And so we're just so pleased to have his talents as part of Shelby County government, and we're looking forward to helping those who have a criminal history get back into our community and to get gainful employment and to reducing the stigma that sometimes comes with being an ex-offender.
Well, it is an important position. We wish him the best of luck, and we wish you the best of luck too, Mayor, as you try to lead the way in the fight against this darn pandemic that shows no end in sight. We'll leave it there. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
The games are a go in Tokyo, and new DraftKings Sportsbook customers can win big if the U.S. brings home a medal. Yep, bet $1 and win 100 if the U.S. wins any medal. That's right, you get paid on any medal. Head to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, bet $1 to win 100, and make it rain.
Get moving with the Planet Fitness Black Card and check out all the perks for zero enrollment, $22.99 a month. Like access to over 2,000 locations? You got it. Bring a guest anytime. That's right. And relax and unwind with massage chairs and more. Plus, get tons of variety and space to move in our super clean clubs. Your fitness is essential. Join Planet Fitness today and get all the perks for no enrollment and $22.99 a month.
Join any of our 9 Memphis area locations for $0 down. Offer ends Thursday, August 12th.
It's summer in the Mid-South. Thunderstorms can pop up in minutes. Download the Local 24 News app. We'll send you alerts when dangerous weather is in your area. Get the Mid-South certified most accurate forecast in the free Local 24 News app.
Paradise is back, baby. Romancier.
Let's just go to bed.
Romancier.
You look good, man.
And Nomancier.
I want to go home.
Why would I stay?
Almost paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise premieres Monday, August 16th on ABC.
We always like to hear from you. The email address is rransom@localmemphis.com. My thanks to Otis and to Mayor Harris and all our guests today, and to you at home for watching. We'll see you next week for Local 24 This Week.